Imagine this: you're sitting in a packed theater. The lights dim, the orchestra begins to play, and the curtain rises on one of the most iconic musicals of all time, Evita. The audience is buzzing with excitement because tonight's leading role is being played by none other than Rachel Ziegler, the same actress who previously stirred up the internet with her bold take on Snow White. But just as the performance reaches its most anticipated moment, boom, the star vanishes mid-show. No warning, no announcement, just gone. This wasn't a minor hiccup or a behind-the-scenes mishap. It was a complete disruption that left the audience in shock, whispering, and searching for answers. It didn't take long for speculation to explode. Was this just a case of sudden illness, or was something much deeper going on? Let's rewind for a second and talk about why Rachel Ziegler has been surrounded by controversy in the first place. A couple of years ago, she was seen as a rising star in Hollywood. She had the voice, the looks, and the big roles lining up. Disney even cast her as Snow White in their live-action remake, what should have been a guaranteed win. But instead of charming audiences, Rachel struck a nerve. During her press appearances, she openly criticized the original Snow White, calling it outdated and problematic. And that's where the backlash began. Rachel's comments were supposed to promote a modern, progressive spin on a beloved classic. But instead, they came across as if she was tearing down a story millions grew up loving. The backlash was instant. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were furious. Social media lit up. Hashtags trended. Calls for boycotts spread like wildfire. And when the film finally hit theaters, let's just say it didn't live up to the hype. In fact, it flopped hard. Empty theaters, harsh reviews. Disney took a massive financial hit, losing millions. And fair or not, much of the blame was pinned directly on Rachel. After that kind of PR disaster, most stars would lay low, rebuild quietly, stay out of the spotlight. But not Rachel. She went big. She signed on for one of the most ambitious roles in musical theater history, Eva Person in Evita. If Snow White was meant to launch her movie career, Evita was her shot at redemption, a chance to remind the world she could still command a stage. And for a while, it looked like it might actually work. Her casting made headlines. Ticket sales jumped. There was real buzz around her West End debut. Some were rooting for a comeback. Others were watching just to see if she'd fall apart. But regardless of motive, the seats were filling up. Then came July 24, 2025. Rachel had already completed the matinee performance earlier that day without any issues. Everything seemed normal. But during the evening show, this was the big one. The evening show, packed with fans expecting a flawless, unforgettable performance. But something went wrong. Midway through the first act, Rachel suddenly walked off stage. No explanation. No dramatic exit. She just vanished. The production froze. Confused murmurs spread through the audience. An unusually long intermission was announced. People were checking their phones, whispering, waiting for any update. Finally, a voice came over the speaker. Rachel Ziegler would not be returning. Her understudy, Bella Brown, would complete the performance. Cue chaos. Clips from the moment started circulating online within minutes. Speculation erupted. The official word, illness. But that didn't sit right with a lot of people. If she was too sick to perform, why go on stage at all? And more importantly, why leave mid-act, in front of a packed house? That's when the theories started flying. Some claimed she had a meltdown backstage. Others said there was a heated argument with the production team. Whatever the truth, one thing became painfully clear: this wasn't just a bad night. This was a defining moment, and not the kind any actor wants. Because in theater, talent isn't enough. You need reliability, professionalism, and presence. When a lead disappears mid-show, it doesn't just disrupt the performance, it sends shockwaves through the entire production. And in Rachel Ziegler's case, those shockwaves turned into a storm. Her abrupt exit from Evita didn't just cost her a performance. It reignited every controversy, every criticism, and every rumor that had been quietly stalking her career for months. Reddit threads lit up. Broadway forums overflowed with speculation. Fans began posting video clips from earlier in the show, analyzing every movement, every facial expression, trying to figure out what went wrong. Footage from backstage soon surfaced. Rachel laughing, chatting with crew members, looking perfectly fine. No signs of illness. No sign of someone about to abandon a performance mid-act. And that only added fuel to the fire. Whispers turned into full-blown speculation. Some claimed she had a meltdown backstage. Others pointed to a clash with crew members, possibly over last-minute creative changes. The phrase "replaced mid-show" became the centerpiece of dozens of viral posts. Then came the footage of Bella Brown. Rachel's understudy stepped into the spotlight with poise. She was composed, confident, and nailed every note. One clip even captured the audience, giving her a standing ovation at curtain call. It was a powerful moment, but an awkward one, too. Your understudy getting a standing ovation while you disappear mid-performance? Not a good look. And social media didn't hold back. Comparisons between Rachel and Bella exploded online. Some viewers even claimed they didn't notice the difference. Brutal. In an attempt to regain control of the narrative, Rachel posted a message online praising understudies and swings. On the surface, it came off as graceful. But to many, it felt like PR spin, damage control before the internet could fully turn against her. Unfortunately for Rachel, the internet doesn't wait. Sympathy was hard to come by, and a big reason for that was the Snow White baggage she was still carrying. That film didn't just underperform, it bombed. And it became a lightning rod for controversy, with critics calling it a poster child for forced wonkiness and tone-deaf messaging. And fair or not, Rachel had become the face of that failure. In Hollywood, perception is everything. And the numbers told a bleak story. Disney had poured over $250 million into the live-action Snow White, a massive investment with massive expectations. Disney reportedly spent over $250 million on production alone. But by the fourth weekend, global box office revenue had barely scraped past $140 million. Theaters quietly began pulling the film from their lineups. Online, people shared photos of empty screenings. This wasn't just a box office disappointment, it was a full-blown embarrassment. And Rachel's interviews, where she criticized the original Snow White story, only made things worse. Many fans felt she had disrespected a beloved classic, and then failed to offer a version that lived up to its legacy. So when the Evita drama unfolded on stage, it didn't feel like an isolated incident. It felt like déjà vu. Another massive opportunity. Another public failure. Even Rachel's usual defenders seemed unusually silent. Actress Nicola Coughlan did post an Instagram story calling Rachel brilliant and praising her talent, but those rare voices of support were quickly drowned out by the noise. Behind the scenes, whispers started to grow louder. Theater insiders spoke of tensions during rehearsals, disagreements over creative direction, rumors that Rachel was pushing for changes that weren't approved. Nothing officially confirmed, but there was enough smoke for people to wonder if there was fire. Some even claimed leaked footage showed her being escorted off stage during a rehearsal. While unverified, the rumor only added to the narrative that Rachel might be difficult to work with. And the brutal truth is, theater isn't forgiving. Directors talk. Producers remember. Once someone gains a reputation for being unreliable or unprofessional, opportunities begin to vanish, especially when those rumors pile onto an already controversial public image. Rachel Ziegler may be immensely talented, but in this industry, talent alone isn't enough. You need trust. You need consistency. You need to show up. Right now, those are exactly the things people are starting to question. Because Rachel Ziegler's journey, from rising star to Hollywood cautionary tale, didn't happen overnight. It was a slow unraveling, one misstep at a time, each moment adding fuel to a fire that's now burning in full view. All of this unfolded under the relentless spotlight of fame. And now, as the dust settles from her Broadway breakdown, people aren't just asking what went wrong. They are asking, can Rachel Ziegler ever come back from this? Because there's no denying her raw talent. When she's on, she shines. Her vocals, her stage presence, her charisma on screen, those were never the problem. That's what made her such a promising lead for Snow White, and why Broadway took a chance casting her as Eva Person. A role that demands stamina, emotion, and presence night after night. But talent, as we've seen time and time again, isn't the full story. This industry, brutal and unforgiving, runs on more than just skill. It runs on relationships, reputation, and resilience. And that's exactly where Rachel's story starts to crack. Behind the scenes, the whispers are only getting louder. Reports of clashes with directors, showing up late to rehearsals, making unauthorized changes to her performances. Some even claim the Evita team was constantly walking on eggshells around her, afraid of triggering another emotional blow-up. Whether those stories are true or not, might not even matter anymore. Because in showbiz, perception is reality. And right now, the perception is bleak. To be fair, not everyone is rooting for her to fail. There's still a loyal faction of fans who believe Rachel is being unfairly targeted. They see a young woman standing up for herself, refusing to play the Hollywood game, and getting punished for it. They admire her confidence, her honesty. But even that narrative has limits. Because when confidence spirals into chaos, when the performance falls apart on stage, even your biggest defenders start to question their loyalty. And then, there's the matter of timing. Rachel's mid-show exit didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened at a moment when her public image was already hanging by a thread. One more controversy, one more misstep, one more night where the spotlight turned harsh instead of bright. And now, many wonder, is this the end of Rachel Ziegler's rise, or just the beginning of her reckoning? Rachel's mid-show exit didn't just spark headlines. It became a symbol of a larger, unsettling pattern. A pattern of stepping into the spotlight, saying the wrong thing, mishandling the backlash, and then disappearing when it matters most. The entertainment world is full of redemption arcs. We've seen stars bounce back from worse, PR disasters, box office bombs, even full-blown public breakdowns. The difference? How they handle the fallout. Some own their missteps. They grow. They come back stronger. Others fold under the pressure, retreating, deflecting, or clinging to rehearsed PR lines until the public tunes out entirely. And right now, Rachel Ziegler is balancing on that razor's edge. It all comes down to her next move. Will she acknowledge what happened? Will she speak candidly about the Evita incident, the Snow White backlash, and what she's learned through it all? Or will she stick to polished statements and safe interviews, hoping the storm dies down on its own? Audiences today are smart. They can sniff out spin from a mile away. They don't demand perfection, but they do want truth. They respect growth, vulnerability, and above all, consistency. And make no mistake, the industry is watching. Producers, casting directors, studio execs. Because no matter how viral a headline gets, when it comes down to the next big opportunity, they are asking just one question. Can she deliver? Can she show up, night after night, shoot after shoot, and do the job? Right now, Rachel Ziegler is a question mark. A talent with undeniable gifts, but a career clouded by controversy. And if she wants to survive this chapter,